we have the sensational Sybil Graham, ladies and gentlemen.
I suppose he could have said silly.
I could have, I wouldn't dare. I feel like I've already pushed as far as I'm going to push it today. So Sybil, we've been talking about communication, and I was interested to hear a bit about how you've tended to communicate with the Federation and the wider community.
Cheshire is a large federation. There are almost 8,000 members. So during the period, the 2.5-year period, I put on a couple of very large gatherings, and then some smaller ones, and I'll explain later about one particular smaller one. The luxury is that you have a whole day just away from your normal everyday life to think about the issues. And what was good was to invite different speakers from different fields, such as water aid, fair trade, Oxfam obviously, to talk about the issues in a very relaxed manner. And I found that was particularly good. A lot of people came on their own, and it gave them time to reflect, to think about the issues. I didn't advertise it as climate change. That could have had disastrous results because people switch off, the wrong sort of switching off. And when they came, they too, as I had been influenced, realised the impact of climate change on women whose lives were very, very difficult to start with. There was one particular gathering when a lady who had seen the same film that you've seen part of this morning saw the film about Uganda. This lady is 80, a member of the WI. And at the end of that particular meeting, she said, Sybil, you know, she said, everything that you see on that film is true. And she then went on to explain her own story in connection with Uganda. There were the one-to-one encounters. The Cheshire Show, there were lots of 30,000 people attend the Cheshire Show. And the WI produce some very nice homemade goodies for people to buy at lunchtime. And I was given a prime spot right by the queue for lunch. And I had my usual boards up with the Millennium Goals. And I stood there for 2 complete days. People would come to the board, read them, look at them, and ask questions what it was that we were doing. And it was amazing, the conversations, the one-to-one conversations with the general public. But the beauty of it was, I had the umbrella of WI. Now, WI are much respected, not just for their sandwiches and homemade cakes, but they are respected as people and listened to. And all ages came to me that day, and they were amazed at what WI were doing. We didn't think that WI ladies did that sort of thing. And I said, well, you know, we don't just talk about things in our own country. So that was interesting, the one-to-one with the general public. In many ways, it was harder talking to WI ladies initially because they don't want to be reminded of poverty. They don't want to be reminded of children dying of malaria until they heard Pat.
Yeah, tell us a bit. You've teased us twice with Pat, so tell us a bit about Pat.
Pat, the 80-year-old lady who saw the film of Martina in Uganda, at the end of this meeting stood up and she said, I've never stood up in public before, but I'm going to tell you that everything you saw is true. Her son had met a young woman from Uganda in London who was in London spreading the word about children dying of malaria. And Pat went out to Uganda and realised that our government does provide medicine, and in fact they do provide refrigerators. But the people in the village where this young woman lived had no power to run that refrigerator, to keep the medicines in. So what does Pat do? At the age of 80, this little woman from Cheshire gathered together some friends who funded 2 small solar panels. And she took them out with her on the plane from Manchester Airport to the village in Uganda. And those 2 little solar panels, and of course she can harness, there's plenty of sunshine in this village. Those 2 little solar panels give the power to run the fridge, to store the medicines, to fight malaria in that village. But not just that, it gives them the power, the energy to produce light so that the children can read, that they can do their studies. And that little village has taken ownership of these 2 small solar panels. And so back to the theme of climate change. And when I explained to the people there that this is one of the things that we can do, we can put some solar panels on our roofs, they will go home remembering that story of Pat, who took the initiative at the age of 80 to do something concrete and to help.
Sybil.
Thank you.